Hi everyone, before we even start, I'd like to extend my apologies for being a little late. I had some interviews this morning that ran longer than they were supposed to, but I'm here now, so thank you.
Zozi, I'm so honored to be here sitting beside you. I met you a few weeks back at the Latin AMAs. You look amazing. Well, always, right? You're probably asking, oh, who is she? You know, everybody knows Zozi, but who is she? Well, I'm the host for Telemundo for tomorrow's show in Spanish. But I was also part of Miss Universe 20 years ago. 20. I was Miss Mexico in Puerto Rico, 2001. Obviously, I didn't win. But I'm here, you know? I'm here with you, sitting with you, so I'm so honored and happy. So thank you, Zozi.
Thank you so much. You don't look a day over 20, so I'm shocked.
Thank you so much. But you know what? Things have changed a lot since, you know, that date. Now I'm a mother of 5 girls. Nothing's the same, but I'm really happy with my daughters. They're everything to me. So I wouldn't change that for anything. Okay, but enough about me. I want to know everything about you. This has been a crazy year, right? What are you to be Miss Universe? I want to know, what has it been like for you, Zozi?
It's been interesting. I feel like ever since I started, from the minute that I won, it was always a case of knowing that my ring would be a special one. I had hoped that it would be unique, that it would be different, but I never imagined that it would be this different. I mean, nobody ever saw the pandemic happening, right? But it's been interesting in a sense that I felt like I had to be Miss Universe this time. I had to be here for a time such as this. You know, so many social issues happened during this time. You know, with gender inequality, with gender-based violence, you know, with Black Lives Matter movements, now with the Stop Asian Haters. Just so much has been happening, and a huge part of my platform is gender equality and racial equality. And so all of these things sort of speak to who I am, and so I was able to use my platform and my voice to, you know, elevate these issues and to make sure that the world is speaking about these issues. Not only speaking about them, but educating each other and hoping that we could get to a space where, you know, a more equal world. And so that's how my year has been. And as much as I haven't been able to travel and do work on the ground, I was able to do it virtually. And I was able to touch more hearts that way because people would just open their phones and open their computers, no matter what part of the world they're in, and they were able to receive the message. And so I'm so proud of that.
You've been a great Miss Universe, that I have to tell you. But what's the most important lesson you've learned till now?
The most important lesson I've learned, especially during this year, is that it is so important to be an ally to so many social ills that are happening in the world. That it is not okay to be a bystander when so many things are going wrong in the world. I think this year we all suffered the same fate. You know, for the very first time, we were fighting the same enemy as the world, you know, the pandemic. And through the pandemic, so many other social issues rose, and the one thing that made it strong was the unity of the people and just the togetherness of it all. And so I think that's what I learned the most this year, is that if you are silent in the face of, you know, problems happening in the world, you're actually contributing to the problem. And so it's so important to always, you know, use our platforms, use our voices to, you know, try and help and change as much as we can. So that was my biggest lesson this year. I was like, we were all forced to speak out and to speak up and just to be proud of who we are and to call out people when, you know, they're doing or saying wrong things. So that's the biggest lesson this year, and I hope that a lot of people learned, you know, the same lesson as well.
We all had to learn lessons this year, for sure. And what has been the biggest challenge for you?
The pandemic. That has been the biggest challenge, you know, because I am a people person. I like to be on the ground, you know, I like feel and see people. And so when that part was taken, away from me because of the pandemic, it was tough at first because I was like, I want to see people, I want to do stuff with them. And so it was challenging to be able to be in a confined space and doing my work from there, especially away from home. I just won this universe and I was 3 or 2 months into it in a strange city, strange country that I've never been to before. And so I found myself confined in my apartment. So it was tough at first, but I had a roommate, Chesley, from Miss USA, and she was, she was always so kind, and it was so nice to know that I had someone there. The Miss Universe organization as well as a whole is full of incredible people who, made sure that I knew that they were there for me and that I wasn't alone.
Nice. And what has been the most rewarding experience or moment for you?
It's hard to pick one rewarding moment because there have been just so many. I think the most rewarding is being able to see my work come to fruition through people. Because then they would, reach out to me in so many different ways to say, thank you just for your existence. Thank you for being in this platform and for making me realize that things are possible for me. I was born and raised in a village in South Africa. I could have never imagined, nobody could have ever imagined that I would be sitting in the stage, being in this universe. And so I think that has given so much hope to so many people, not only village little girls or not only women or people of color, but everyone. I think everyone could relate to, the story of perseverance, of working hard to make sure that you get to where you want to get. And so being able to represent the underdog has been my most favorite thing,
You were the underdog. I was there, and I saw you on stage, and I knew you were there. And when you spoke, and Mexico was there with you, so my heart was with Mexico.
She was fantastic.
I know. But when I saw you there, when I heard you speak, I knew the crown was yours. You've been great.
Thank you so much.
That's the truth. Okay, was it everything you expected?
No, actually, it wasn't anything I expected. It was above and beyond. For one, the pandemic, no one saw it coming. That was unexpected. But it was more fulfilling than I thought it would be, because you win your national pageant, and then you go on to win Miss Universe, and you kind of have an idea of what you think it is. And then you actually go there and you realize that it's so much more impactful. You will meet young girls and women, and people will see your face and start crying just because they're looking at you and just feeling like you are a representation of them. So for me, that was so fulfilling, for people to come up to me and say, when I see your face, I see myself, I feel represented. It's so fulfilling. I never thought it would be that way, but it was so much more than I expected.
Now you're going to make me cry.
Stop. Not today. Not with your makeup. You look beautiful. Sorry.
You too. Okay, Miss Universe title holders are spokeswomen who speak on behalf of wonderful social causes. What is one that is near and dear to you?
So for the past year and a half, I've had the opportunity to work with so many great organizations, and one of my closest one had been, the United Nations, especially UN Women, particularly. I am very big on women empowerment. I am for women, by women, and I just speak a lot on gender equality, gender-based violence as well, and so that has been my platform this year, to make sure that we lend our voices and do as much as we can for women in the world. Because as it is, the world wasn't designed to have women achieve things. I feel like the world is so patriarchal in a sense, and we haven't got to a space where we're uplifting women as much as we can. If you look at statistics, I think we have about 108 years or something like that before men and women are equal, which is crazy to me to imagine that I will not possibly see that day. And so I just wanted to make sure that I champion it and ask other people to join me as well, not only women, but men as well, because if we look at gender inequality, it's not a woman issue, it's a humanity crisis. And so it was important for me to use my voice and my platform during this time to emphasize that message.
Is anyone taping this? Because I want my daughter's face in her. Right? She's so beautiful. I'm glad you're here.
She is pretty, isn't she? What's that title?
National All-American Miss Breezy.
Okay, future Miss Universe.
Congratulations. We might see her here.
Well, I was just saying, she's gonna be here. She's gonna be on the stage at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now, let's transition to this Miss Universe competition.
So excited.
Okay, have you been watching the rehearsals?
I have been. I saw one particular one because I went there to chat to the girls, but yes, how exciting. It was so nostalgic for me to watch them because, you know, I imagine myself when I first got here, so excited to go to rehearsals every day, so excited to see the girls and just experience everything. And so I've just been reliving that moment and just watching them, and I'm so excited. It's going to be a great show. Just like every other year, we have fantastic candidates. I mean, women from all over the world who have different social causes, different voices, and you know, that's what Miss Universe is about. It's about the platform. There's few platforms in the world that allow and give women an opportunity to lead, and this happens to be one of them. I always tell people it's more than just a pageant. I don't even like using the word pageant. I like using Miss Universe competition and calling it a leadership platform, and that's what it is. It's a leadership platform.
Yeah, you're right. And how are the delegates feeling right now? Because you know how they're feeling.
Well, speaking from my experience, they have done two of the most difficult parts. They've had their interview and they've had their preliminary competition yesterday. And I'm going to tell you guys the same thing that I told them when they asked me. I said, now is the time to have fun, because they have been working hard since probably last year, since they got crowned, preparing for this moment. The difficult part is over. I like to tell myself that you did your best. There's nothing more than that you could have done. You know, there's destiny waiting for each and every one of us. And if it's your destiny to be Miss Universe this year, then it's your destiny. Or your destiny could have been that you had to come to Miss Universe to meet different people. You had to come to Miss Universe to get the following on the platform. So our destinies are not the same. And that's how they should look at it. I mean, say, maybe just this experience as a whole was a stepping stone for me to get to the right place to where I need to be. And so that takes away the pressure from them and to just have fun and to enjoy and to say, I worked hard. Yeah. Now is the time for me to enjoy the fruits of my labor. And so that's how I felt during this time. I was like, you know what, I've done all the work. Now we're going to get to stage and entertain and give people a great show.
Because when I didn't get to the finalists on my year back in 2001, I cried so much. But then I woke up next day and I said, okay, this wasn't meant to be. So what's next for me? So I learned a lot from that lesson. So
That's true.
okay, looking back, any advice for them as they get into the final day?
My biggest advice, I think kind of like the same thing that I just said now. As they stand on that stage, you know, they have the names of their countries on their chest. And so I want them to be proud of that moment, to know that they won in their country, and they get to be the face of their country, and they get to be the voice of the women that are in their country. You know, I believe that as women, we stand where we are because of women who came before us, and because of women who groomed us, and because of women who come from where we come from. And so that's my advice to them, is to play into that. Think of all the women that are supporting you, you know, the young girls in that moment, and act in a way that would make them super, super proud. But also I want them to remain authentic to who they are. I don't want them to try to be any other Miss Universe or to be like other Miss Universes. Because you know, you will meet people and they will tell you, don't do that, a Miss Universe shouldn't be like that. A Miss Universe should be like this. And I'm like, no, a Miss Universe is
They tell you
who you
that?
are. Yeah, people will tell you that. They'll be like, no, a Miss Universe should act a certain way, dress a certain way, speak a certain way. And I'm like, that's not true. A Miss Universe is who you are at your true essence as a woman. Whatever it is that you are, that is Miss Universe. I mean, look at all the Miss Universes that we've had before. Different personalities, different messages that they bring to the world. And it's just a celebration of womanhood. And women are not the same. We come in different forms, shapes, sizes, personalities. So my message to them is to remain true to their uniqueness and who they are and never ever change.
We love you, Zozi.
Thank you.
Any insider information you want to share with us? I don't know. Gossip?
What kind?
Anything.
I don't. I literally don't. I try to stay away from that so that I cannot have my own biases. And I know the next question is going to be, who would you like to win? Who's your favorite?
I'm not going to ask you that because you're going to say all of them. I like them all.
I do like all of them because, like I said, they all bring a different essence to the platform, and that's like the most important thing. Is each and every one of us come onto this competition carrying different messages that matter to the world. You know, so whoever wins, I want them to know that they have a huge impact and that they can be catalysts for positive change and just bring light and kindness and intelligence to the world.
And what's next for you? We want to keep seeing you. We want to keep hearing you. What do you want to do?
Well, first I am returning home to South Africa. Yes, I know. I'm so happy to see, my family.
I love your country.
Thank you. Have you been?
From my honeymoon. It was amazing.
Where were you?
Yeah. The safaris.
Oh.
Singita, it's called.
Yes.
It was amazing.
See, Esther, where's Esther? You went to the wrong one. You must go to Singita.
I'll tell you everything about it.
But yes, I love television and media. I'm a communications person. I like to communicate. I think everyone has kind of got that sense about me this year. I like to use my voice for impact, for change, and so I think going into media is the only way to be able to continue doing what I'm passionate about. So that's the next chapter in my life, and obviously continuing with humanitarian work. I'm a humanitarian at heart. I believe it's so important to contribute to humanity, to contribute to the world. We're all born, with a purpose that we have to fulfill in the world. I believe that each and every one of us are born for a purpose that is so much bigger than ourselves, And so that's why I want to continue with my humanitarian work, especially with women, just to continue championing for women all over the world.
We're going to be following you.
Thank you.
Every step of the way.
Thank you so much.
Any questions from you? Anybody? Nice.
Yeah.
You were ready.
Actually, I told him, please, when I ask for questions, I know he's going to say you have a question. So thank you for that.
Yeah, this is Felipe. Nice meeting you.
Hi, Felipe.
We would like to know what are your plans? How do you see yourself in 5 years?
Hopefully still doing what I do with a bigger level and a platform. Like I just said, I'm a communicator, I'm a humanitarian at heart, and I want everything that I do to have a positive contribution towards the world. So in 5 years' time, I want to be able to do that at a bigger platform, touch many countries, touch as many continents as I possibly can with, my message of gender equality. When people think of me, I want them to think of, that girl who came, who took up space and continued to take up space in so many different platforms. So that's where I see myself in 5 years.
Good. And I have two more, sorry.
Sure, perfect.
Yes.
Go ahead.
One of them is, what do you know about Mexico?
Sorry?
What do you know about Mexico?
You know what? Not as much as I would like to know. I would love to know a whole lot more about Mexico. One of the most heartbreaking things about this year was not being able to travel and not being able to, get an essence of who people are. So I don't know as much as I should, and I'm hoping that, I can learn. And
I can invite you now.
Please, please
right?
do. I would love to. I think, judging by the people that I've met, Sophia last year, such a brilliant woman who was so well versed in so many issues that are happening in the world. And I've had a couple of conversations with her, and just because of that, it made me want to know more, about who you are as a people. And so I'm so excited to be able to have that opportunity in the future.
But you've tried tacos, right?
I have, yes.
Tacos or
I do
guacamole.
know about the food, and it's fantastic.
And sorry, and finally, what would be your message for women that suffer violence, especially in Mexico? There are a lot of women that suffer violence. So what would be your message to them?
My biggest message to women who have suffered violence is for them to know, one, that it's not their fault, because sometimes the world will make you believe as a woman that it is questions like that that don't even make sense. And so my message for them would be that it is not your fault. Reach out to as many people as you can, because there are women who are willing to believe you. But my biggest message is not only to the women, but to the perpetrators and to our governments across the world, that they should criminalize, violence against women as much as they can, because I feel like it's not criminalized right now, and so much needs to be done there. So I'm calling them out, to help as much as they can. But to the women, stay strong. Don't be scared to share your story, because when you share your story, you are inspiring, other women and giving them permission to come forward and say, this happened to me too. So I feel like the more stories we share as women, the more, we're able to come together and help each other out of this. So it's not your fault, and we're here for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This is Sanchez from Peru. Hi, everybody. I saw you at Miss USA 2019. Well, you don't remember because you met a lot of people. But thank you for being such a great Miss Universe. I think that we love you so much that we will miss you with all our heart. It's your last day as Miss Universe. I don't want to ask you questions. I want to ask you funny questions, right? So you miss your country. I love food. What will you do when you go to South Africa? Okay, I know that you're gonna see your family, your friends. What will you eat? The first thing from South Africa.
I love that, and it's going to be so funny because I want you to pronounce it with me. When I get home, I want to eat umbusho.
What?
Umbusho. Do you want to try and pronounce it? Umbusho.
No.
No, it's so cute. I mean, it's a Xhosa dish. That's my culture. I know it's another clique, Xhosa. I'm from the Xhosa tribe, the Xhosa clan. And it's our traditional dish that I want to try first. And so if you come to South Africa, ask for that. Say that it's giving you a lunch, and you're going to be like, oh, the Xhosa tribe.
I will go visit and maybe you will
Okay.
look it up for me.
Let me know. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Very nice to meet you. I just wanted to ask you, as a pageant queen myself, what is one of your favorite beauty tips?
Ooh, okay. Let's see. I have to pick one out of my. This is the simplest one. It is, because I know with us you wear makeup every day, and sometimes when you go to bed you struggle a lot to take it off. Don't go to bed with your makeup on. Like, that is my tip, because so many things will go wrong if that happens. And I know it's so easy to just fall asleep. Make sure that, just take your makeup off before you go to bed. And secondly, wash your pillowcases as much as you can, because there's so many that lives on there that will make your skin break as much as possible. So clean pillowcases and just a clean face as much as you can for me is my biggest. And obviously stay hydrated as much as you can.
I'll do the thing about pillowcases.
Because we forget, and sometimes it's like you don't even know where your pimple came from. It's like, maybe it's your pillowcase.
I'm gonna go next with this beautiful princess, and then I'll go back to you. What's your name?
My name is Mila, and I'm really happy to be here today.
Lovely to meet you, Mila.
I had the privilege of visiting your home country, South Africa,
Really?
just before the pandemic.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
I have two questions for you. The first one is, my favorite animal of the big five is the elephant, and what is yours? And then
She knows the big five. That is like, she's big, because the big five is like a South African. Those are our animals. Well, first of all, you are very smart. So yours is the?
elephant. I love the elephant.
I love the rhino. Out of the big five, the rhino has to be one of my favorites. Especially because they are endangered right now in South Africa. A lot of people are doing a lot of rhino hunting for the horns, which is so unfortunate and so sad. But yeah, it definitely is that for me right now. It changes. I pick and choose, but today the rhino is in my heart.
And my second question is, besides your crowning moment, what was your happiest moment during your reign?
It was, I will definitely say my homecoming when I touched down at the airport. And the first thing I did was, switch on my phone, and my phone was going crazy, buzzing. And so one of the air hostesses comes to me and says, there's a... It's like I've never met someone I'm invited on in person.
Exactly.
I'm so excited. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you. My question is follow up to your challenge, which is online cyberbullying. What do you do to detoxify from from using technology, social media? Because sometimes I'm one of those fans that gets caught up with social media, but at the same time, last year because of the pandemic, I was at home, so that's all I did. What would you advise to those fans, and what could they do to not be mean? I guess any advice?
That is such an interesting one. I've never been asked that question on that angle.
Yes.
But again, the first thing is to educate ourselves as much as we can about people who are different to us. Because sometimes I feel like bullying comes from not having a bigger picture of the world and not understanding when people are different to us. I'll give you an example. When I first won, there were people who didn't see my beauty, I guess because they were not used to seeing my beauty. And it starts with educating ourselves. Obviously we don't all have finances to travel the world, but we have resources to the internet. Research, look at what the world looks like. Let's broaden our minds and try to understand. Same goes to marginalized people, whether it's the LGBTQ plus community. You have to understand where they come from and who they are, and then from there you will be able to have a broader mind and you won't have a narrow perspective of the world. So that's my first thing that I would advise them. Understand more about the world before you make painful comments to people. And the second thing I would say to them is usually bullies come from an insecure place. It's usually people who probably have been bullied before, or it's usually people who struggle with who they are. So I think the first step is to try to learn more about themselves, try to embrace themselves, and try to show themselves as much love as they can, because once you come to a place of acceptance and love for yourself, it's easier to love the next person as well. And so I think that would be, my biggest advice to them. Learn more about other people, but most importantly, learn about yourself. Ask yourself, why am I being mean to this person today? Why? What triggered me to be mean? And then I think that's where we can move on from there.
We have one last question, because I suppose you all want to take a picture with her, right? If not, we won't have time. So go ahead, last question.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rufino from California.
Lovely to meet you. You look fantastic.
Thank you so much. I work for Miso.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're the official skincare of the Miss Universe.
It's lovely to meet you.
I love your tips about cleaning before
Yes.
going to bed. But by the way, I admire you so much, and you are full of confidence. And how did you arrive into being a very confident person? And the next question is, how would you advise the next Miss Universe to be like you?
Thank you so much. I love that you said, how did you come to be confident? Because then you're not just born and you're just confident. You learn. It's a learning process, and it's something that you have to teach yourself every day. At least that's what I do. So I have to wake up every day and self-affirm. One, tell myself that I belong here. I didn't come here by mistake. I worked hard in order to be here, and so I deserve all of it. And that's my first step. And second one is just telling myself that I am, I'm an intelligent woman. I am beautiful. I matter. Those are the most important things, and that will be my message to the next Miss Universe. The world is going to tell you a lot of mean things, but the most important thing is what you feel and think about yourself. Other people's opinions don't matter. So if you wake up, you look yourself in the mirror and you're like, it's another day. I won Miss Universe. This is a chance for me to have an impact on the world and to do incredible things. That's where the confidence starts, is the belief in ourselves before other people believe in themselves. So I always tell people, wake up every day and choose yourself.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If I loved you before, now I love you more.
Thank you so much.
And I wish you the best.
Thank
with all
you.
my heart.
Thank you so much. I wish you the best too.
Thank you. Raising my girls, oh my god, that's the challenge. You think Miss Universe is the challenge? Have 5 daughters. Oh my god. Okay, so everybody's ready for a picture. I want a picture with you too.
I'm ready for a photo.
Can I take a picture? Yeah! Perfect, thank you so much.
Thank you so
everybody.
much. Thank you.
Enjoy the show tomorrow.
Someone duplicate that. Like, you can have a. Oh my gosh. Can I get a clip of that?
The video of him interviewing.
Oh yeah, still recording.
Oh,
in here, yeah.
Why don't you get your easy?
Yeah, I send you later. I actually already recorded it. One more just asking that question. But I didn't know. Yeah, because
I can tell you what it is.
I know, right?
This is you.
Yes.
Alright, great, thanks.
Thank you so much. Oh, that's my such a fault.
Ready? Hard hands, 1, 2, 3. Right here, 1, 2, 3. Great, thanks.
Yeah, you got a little close.
Thank you. Come a little closer.
There you go, perfect. That's it, right there, perfect. You ready? Looking right here in the lens, and 1, 2, 3. One more, 1, 2, 3. Awesome, thanks.
That's a gang sign.
Those are great, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We will see
Thanks so much.
tonight.
Love you.
Mask on the table.
We will see.
You're gonna come up tonight just to check it out, right?
Yes, I'm gonna come up to see, and then we'll see.
Thank you so much for
Love you.
Thank
you. I wear it for today.
I knew you see, I got my eye on it this time. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, see you tomorrow then.
Leslie, I'll text you in a minute.